Greetings, everyone. This is Payman Lorenzo, host of the Leaders Lot podcast. Today, I have another wonderful guest for you, my new best friend. We have so much in common, so many things she's doing that I absolutely admired, that I'm captivated, fascinated. And that's Laura from beautiful Boulder, Colorado, originally from Chicagoland. And
Yes,
we had a wonderful chat yesterday. Been connected to our good, wonderful common friends, Mary Gooden. She's my publisher. She's my amazing friend. She's also your publisher. I gather you just released a book. Welcome to the International Bestselling Author Club. That's a major milestone.
Thank you. Thank you.
Very welcome. So a little bit about you. I mean, I can spend the next 2 years just talking about what she does, but I'm going to try to summarize it as best as I can in the next 10 seconds. And that is I really love what she's doing, her motto, and that is she helps people find their inner wisdom, and with that comes their healing. I mean, that says it all about her. She's a true leader with a heart. She's been blessed to have had a very rich life in terms of transformation, impact, and doing good around her and around the world. What she does is that she's very creative, artistic. She's very good at bringing things together, people together. She's had her spiritual awakening in her 30s, which was just yesterday. So she does shamanic work. She's got an extensive background in science, and she was also, believe it or not, an alchemist. So maybe you can give us a secret to make our own gold. Huh?
Yeah.
We'll make sure Uncle Sam doesn't hear it, you know. And
that's another show.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Best for some glass of wine in person, you know, not recorded. She's been doing Akashic work for the past 20 years. She opens the book, the Universal Infinite Book of Wisdom for a client. She's been doing it for 20 years. And so she's teaching people how to do their own reading. And she's also been trained in hypnotherapy, by the world famous Dr. Wise, one of the men that actually introduced me through his videos to past life, and that was a big part of my spiritual awakening back in the summer of 2020. So this is in a nutshell what she does, and I'm very excited to get to know her further as a human being today. So, Laura, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
Pleasure's
I
all
love
mine.
talking about my work and talking about and just sharing.
This is what we're all here for. You know, we're all here to not only to life is a school, we all here to learn lessons, then take those lessons, those gifts, and share them with the world, so together we can all benefit and collectively rise. So
Right.
Before we start, tell us, for people who don't know you, we're going to talk about your work, your impact in a moment.
Okay.
But as a human being, as a person, who's Laura? For people who don't know you, over and beyond.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, just like my work, there's so many parts to me. Where do I start? I'll start with what I did yesterday. I baked bread.
Oh, beautiful. What kind of bread?
I love to bake. I made homemade raisin bread.
Oh, can I have some, please?
And come on over. I have the second loaf just all cooled down.
Well, Toronto is not far from Chicago, so be careful what you ask.
Come on over.
All right.
But I and part of this is create. I love to create, and I love to create with my hands. So I love to bake and like the bread, like the kneading and feeling the textures. Like baking the same thing. My neighbors love me because I'm like, hey, do you want to taste this? Can you help me out? And we have a great time. So I love that. I love using my hands baking. I love to create. I make handmade papers from pulp with pulp. Wow. I make homemade books, like book bindings.
Wow.
Journals with leather covers. So I do that, and everything is just, you have energy points on the palms of your hands. And all of that comes through me. So like I'll do that. I will, I love nature. I was a wood turner for 5 years, and I would make bowls. And the bowls were to me significant of us as vessels, empty vessels, and what are you going to put inside yourself or the bowl? So I worked with different, I love the trees. I love nature, and that's a lot of my shamanic work too. That comes through. I'm an animal lover. I wanted to start out to be a vet, but I ended up going into clinical pharmacy. So any animals, I just love all animals. So I love that. I'm also an aromatherapist, which is part of the alchemy. So so I love doing that, and that's part of healing too. And I'm a crier too. I never thought I would be a crier. It's like, watching these, at the end of the love story, and they come together, and I'm like, Downton Abbey, the two of them come together. I'm like, oh, this is so sweet, or you're on Facebook and you see the little puppy and it just kind of, it touches my heartstrings when I see happiness like that.
Beautiful. We're going to talk about that in a moment. But
Okay.
first of all, what I like to start, that's beautiful. Thank you. I'm a big, big lover of animals as well, especially dogs. I was not into pets before, but since my sister and her husband got a Labrador and a Golden Retriever, that boy completely stole my heart, and we became best friends. Sometimes I catch myself even here in Asia shouting his name sometimes on the street randomly. Whenever I see a dog, I go and pat him. I'm absolutely in love with dogs.
And all of my pets are rescue. All been rescue, and they've been just phenomenal. They just give so much of themselves to you. They do give unconditional love.
That's it. So, you want to feel unconditional love? Get a dog. It's just beyond.
Cats are a different story. I've had cats. Cats are more independent. But these dogs, they're givers.
Absolutely. Dogs are angels. They're our best friends for sure. All right. So what I like to start usually with is further get to know you as a person, human being. I'm going to start asking you a series of rapid fire questions. Ready?
Okay. Yes.
All right. So Laura, tell us, what makes you happy as a person?
When I am creating, when I'm in my creative zone, it's like I can feel energy. I can feel it. I can feel spirit coming through. I can feel the energy coming through, and I'm in the zone, and time stands still. It's like I'm transported to another dimension. I just love that feeling.
Beautiful.
It's like, I guess, my happy zone.
Hey, that's a beautiful place to be, to have a happy zone,
Yeah.
Now, what makes you smile?
The first thing that comes to mind is when I see little kids, like little toddlers, or even like preschool, those 3 and 4-year-olds, because they're so honest with you. They will tell you everything. They will, they're the truth tellers.
Pure angels.
And I just smile and laugh, and I'm like, oh, really? Tell me more. And they just keep on babbling to me, and they tell me what they did and what they ate and what they don't like and why. And they are just so honest, and they're just so forthright. So that always makes me smile when I see the little one.
Now, you've alluded to it, but let's expand on that. and take the happiness factor a couple of notches higher. What makes your heart come alive? What sets your soul on fire?
Ooh, I guess doing anything that I love, because that's when that endless energy comes in. Comes in. It's like even after I do like an Akashic session or a reading, I just feel so uplifted because I'm holding the light for that person, and I know how they're expanding, and it's just kind of like bubbly energy. It's just
Yeah,
it's just a wonderful feeling. Yeah.
beautiful. Now, on the other side of the spectrum, what makes you sad and angry?
Oh, I think I would say back getting into like the theme of duality, the
Mhm.
haves and the have-nots, um, injustice, um, even if it's with, I mean, not only people, but like with animals or land and nature, it's like things that are happening should not be happening, but they are.
I'm with you on that. Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, what would you say is, sorry, what scares you?
Oh, the first thing that came to mind are snakes. I hate
I was about to
hate
mention that, but I
snakes.
didn't say it. Okay, why?
Snakes. Well, in Colorado, we do have a lot of rattlesnakes out here.
Mm.
And I'm not used to the rattlesnakes. I'm just used to little, like garter snakes or something like that. And I don't know. I think to me, they're kind of sneaky. All of a sudden, because you can't hear them. Like if
Mm.
deer is coming or something, you can kind of hear footsteps, or even if there's a mountain lion, you can kind of hear. They're kind of like, I don't know. They kind of creep me out.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, I can see that. Here they have so many different types of wild animals that it's amazing. You have the city, but as soon as you drive or go like say 10 minutes outside, you're like in a jungle. And I mean tropical jungle.
Yeah.
I heard that you sometime if you venture a bit far, you can even meet some of those Malaysian tigers.
Oh, sure, sure.
Yeah, so
I was in where was I? In Ecuador. We were in the Amazon. I was doing a shamanic workshop session out there, working with the Ecuadorian healers,
yeah.
and we were in we were in the rainforest there, and they had kind of like, I guess you'd call them like scouts, to go out to make sure that none of the animals would encroach the areas that we were staying. And they had a wild boar, which was
Oh,
like the size of a Volkswagen Beetle car. Yeah, walk
scary.
walking around. But they kept them off off our property
Yeah,
or
wow,
huts, whatever. But yeah, so yeah, it's real. Yeah,
absolutely.
but no snakes for me. Nuh-uh.
Yeah, no, for sure. Now, what would you say is your number one personal superpower?
Hmm. My ability, I'm very good at I get this laser focus on the situation.
Mm.
It like comes through. I'll be either doing a reading or I'll be in a situation, and boom, I know exactly what's happening. I know exactly what the situation is, who's supposed to be there, who's not supposed to be there. Yeah, so I guess just kind of, yeah, it's like all that periphery, all the fluff is gone, and it's Zoom.
Wow.
But I have another superpower is that, and I want to just throw this out there. So open up your minds, everybody, because, okay, I'm 5'7", and I'm pretty tall. So when I go to the grocery store, I am the one that can always reach to the very top shelf and get that little bag of rice or whatever for the little old ladies or the people that are only 5 feet tall. That's me.
Hey, that's a beautiful gift, you know?
And because I'm glad you brought that up, because everybody thinks it has to be this huge thing.
Oh,
I am going to do this, or I'm going to, I'm going to do this or save this, or no, it's these little things.
yeah,
So that's one of my
exactly.
superpowers.
You know,
Yeah.
in fact, doesn't mean you have to change the world and be the next Einstein. No,
No.
help, just said the lady or the gentleman beside you can't reach the stuff up. That's, hey, you're doing good. You're helping someone. You're
Yeah.
making a difference.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. Now, you like traveling, right?
Yes, I love to travel.
All right. Let me take you now down a different type of traveling down memory line. Go back to when you were a kid, a little girl growing up. When we're kids, people around us,
Yeah.
parents, family, relatives, teachers ask us, so Laura, what do you want to become when you grow up? What was your answer to this as a young girl?
Oh, I wanted to be a teacher.
Oh,
I
wow.
wanted to be a teacher. Okay, there's 6 kids in our family. And so I'm the second oldest. So I wanted to be a teacher because we had a chalkboard, like in our play, the play area room. And I would just love to write on that.
Oh,
And
yes.
then when I finally got to school, like kindergarten, first grade, they would write in this different colored chalk and everything. And I thought, oh, that's what I want to do. I just want to teach. And then I got a little older. So then I would make up little assignment sheets for my little brothers who I made my students. So I was in front of the chalkboard and my brothers had to sit and listen and watch me teach, like their little math problems or, yeah.
That's amazing.
So, yeah.
Speaking of that, what was your relationship growing up with school? Did you love school or hate school?
School for me was almost like a job. I mean, we had to go. If you were sick, you still kind of had to go. I mean, it was like, I grew up Catholic. We went to a Catholic grade school, Catholic high school, all girl Catholic high school. And it was like thump, thump, thump. The teachers were authority figures. We came home, we did our homework. We were very good students. We never turned to any assignments and late. Yeah. So it was, it was kind of like a job.
A job before a job. Yeah. Preparation for it. Huh?
Yeah.
What was your favorite subject in school?
Biology. I love biology.
You like
I love biology.
Frogs?
Yeah, dissected frogs, cats, pigs.
Holy!
At pharmacy school, we had our cadavers, human cadaver. Oh yeah, I did all of that. But I think what fascinated me when I was younger, what in biology was when we got to the cells. We got like cellular biology. I'm like, each little cell is like a little universe. I mean, it had its little energy centers and it had its nucleus and it had all these parts. And then they would, like divide. I'm like, how did this happen? I mean, it was just like this mystery. And it really kind of still is, how all of this regenerates and why and how and what happens. I mean, yeah. I still love all the cells. The DNA is contained in the cells, in the nucleus.
Absolutely.
And back then we only saw the 2 strands. Now we learn much more.
There's more than two, absolutely.
So,
Oh, yes.
so little did I know back then how it projected into the future.
I mean, everything we do at any given moment, nothing is random. Everything prepares you for what's
No,
next. I've
yeah,
seen that
yeah.
unfold so many times in my life and lives of those around me. And of course, I only realized that once I had my awakening. Before I said, well, nothing made any sense because it was completely unrelated. But once you took it from a higher perspective, you understand, hey,
Yeah,
nothing is random. Everything's for a purpose and at the right time. And you're meant to be, you are where you're meant to be.
yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly.
So what was was there any subject in school that you could not stand?
Finance and
Ah,
economics.
why?
Can't stand, can't stand it. It's, I think it was too rigid for me.
Yeah,
There wasn't, it was so, I mean, a lot of what I did was like, you know, it had the formula, and it just, it wasn't, it wasn't in my field.
yeah.
So, yeah. You know, accounting, finance,
Oh,
you know,
God.
like all, you know, economics. I'm like, oh,
I have to
you
make a
know,
confession. I had to take accounting twice in college. It was just too boring for me.
yeah, yeah. I did, when I did my MBA, you know, we had to do a year, you know, a year of finance. And to me, that was like, it was almost like torture. I would, you know, I called it like the avoidance factor. It's like I'm studying for my finance final, and I thought, you know what? I think I better check my gutters because I think my gutters need cleaning now.
Always think of
So
something else to do. Yes.
something else instead of studying for, yeah, for finance.
I hear you. I hear you.
Yeah.
Now, let me check here something. That's amazing. What was your very first job? And do you remember how much you were getting paid for that first time you got
Oh
paid?
my God. Yeah, I think, well, my very first job was babysitting.
Oh, okay. How old were you?
And not really for, I mean, my job, not for like my siblings, but you know, like I would get paid like for the neighbors down the street, you know. Oh my God, it would had to be like 50 cents an hour or something like that. And you had 4 kids and you had to give them lunch, but you know, you walked away with like $3 or something, and you're like, I'm rich. What am
Do
I
you
going to
remember?
buy with my
Do you
money?
remember what you spent your
You know,
first paycheck on? What were you excited to save money for the very first time? Was it
I
candy,
think that the
bicycle?
very, I think it was a pair of jeans, and I had to
Mm,
wait. I mean, I had to save up for that because back
sure.
then it was, you know, you're styling. If you had the right pair of jeans, you know, and you know, like in junior high, then you're really, you know, you're
Yeah, yeah.
it.
Wow.
So yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah.
Now, let's move on forward to talk about your path. How would you describe your path from the moment you left school to now? Was it like as soon as you into one lane, it was pretty much straight sailing, smooth forward? Was it like turns and twists, like a roller coaster?
You know, my path just oscillated. It just kept on, it ebbed and flowed. It ebbed and flowed. I started off with my, you know, it started very smooth, math and science. They're like, hey, I know I wanted to do something in healthcare. I was encouraged to go into pharmacy, and I thought, yeah, okay, you know, I'll just, you know, it wasn't, I think you know, looking back, now that I'm actually talking to you about this, I really wanted to be a doctor,
I
but I
can
didn't have that
imagine, especially
encouragement.
you being so fascinated by biology. Yes, I was about to ask you.
Yeah,
I kept that for after.
yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah. And but I really wasn't encouraged because, you know, like back in the day, you know, you're supposed to, you know, yeah, you can, you know, get a job, you know, get a career. You can be a teacher, a nurse, or pharmacist, or, you know, something like that. You go get married, have kids, have your family, and you can always go back and work part-time. What a fairy tale, huh? I'm not married. I don't have kids. I'm still working. I mean, it's like, boom. Yeah.
If life was
That's
that
an
easy,
example. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, but I was very good. I was very good in the sciences, in math and science. So that was my zone of excellence. It truly wasn't my zone of genius, but I really excelled in what I did.
Mhm.
And then I started to open up into the spiritual world. I'll call it like my awakening. I started with dream analysis class, how to read auras. And that really was an initiation for me because it did incorporate the science of energy and matter into the spiritual world. So I was kind of having one foot in both worlds, kind of like that science security world, and then all of a sudden the spiritual world. And there wasn't a lot out there. And I remember one of my very first workshops that I did was with Jean Houston, and she did a whole weekend on passion for the possible. And so I thought, okay, I can do this. But it was the first time I met my first like spirit guide. Yeah, like all of these things started to happen. We did this Asclepian dream
What's that?
state. It's back in the day of like the Oracle of the Grecian or the Delphi Oracle. You would do a group dream, and and then people would read sacred text while so you would incubate. It's like this dream incubation. I never did
Wow.
that.
Wow.
My first guide that came to me was Saint Joan of Arc.
Really? Whoa.
She was my very first guide that came to me.
So it's like
And
some kind of channeling. You were channeling her.
it was through it was like a journey meditation thing. Yeah. And I got me. And then I just introduced to a lot of like different openings of the ceremonies. And so all of a sudden that door opened, then other doors opened, and before you know it, boom, I'm working in the Akashic field. I'm doing past life readings. I'm a Reiki master. I worked in energy. I did a lot of archetype work with Carolyn Mace. Also, all of a sudden, all of these things started to open. So it still was kind of like this, and all the time I was still working as a pharmacist. So I'm, my shamanic work opened up. I was initiated as a shamanic elder. So you never know when who you meet when, and if the door doesn't open, it's not your door. You just you go with the flow. Yeah,
This is
you just
powerful,
go
man.
with the flow.
I'll actually write this down. If the door doesn't open, it's not your door. That's beautiful.
Yeah, yeah.
Let me just write this down. That's beautiful. If the door doesn't open, it's not your door. This is so
It's
powerful.
not my it's not my original thought. I don't know who said that, but it's from somebody, and that always stuck with me. It's like, don't force the fit. It's
Yeah.
just yeah.
I will
No
credit.
matter how much you try, how much you want it.
Yeah, absolutely. I will credit you for it because I heard it from you. So made by Laura. Okay, my good friend Laura. Okay, beautiful. Now, before we talk about the spiritual aspect and all the wonderful thing you're doing, I'm very curious to hear more about your scientific background.
I was in clinical. I was always math and science. Loved math and science, and I loved healing. So it was, give me blood and guts, I'm there. I worked hospitals, worked in the emergency room, went on all the codes, and that took me up to a certain point, because then I thought, why aren't, and this is a lot of what Carolyn Mace's work is about, why do some people heal and some people don't heal?
Mm.
You know, so how, all of a sudden these layers started to come to me a little deeper and a little deeper, you know. Why does, you know, if you have a family of, you know, 5 people, 7 people, 10 people in your family, why do 7 of them have, you know, diabetes and 3 people don't, or the reverse? You know, they say, oh, it's genetic. Well, if it's genetic, then everybody should have it. Why only some and not others?
Yeah.
So all of these things started to percolate with me. That makes sense. So
Yeah.
that kind of went back into, you know, back into the healing. I had a health condition. I'll just call it a condition with my heart. And I worked very deeply in the Akashic records using the energy and the light
Mm.
to go back and help, let's say, set things back to normal. Words are very powerful. So never watch what you say, especially with health. You know, you never say I'm sick. Say, oh, I'm healing.
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
Big turn, big twist there. Yeah.
I'm under construction, you know. I'm being
Yeah.
regenerated,
Yeah.
rejuvenated. Yes. I love that. Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Beautiful. Now, another aspect that I would love to know more about before we go talk into all the fascinating things you're doing is about your work as an alchemist. How did you get into that? And what is exactly the work of an alchemist? Do you really literally create gold?
No, I call it more of a spiritual alchemist
Ah, okay, okay,
or an energy alchemist.
okay.
So, and that all has to do everything about looking at ourselves, looking at our inner wisdom, looking how we can shift. And that's the alchemy within yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why a lot of people, when we work in the Akashic records, we look at that. We look at why people are blocked, why you can't shift, why you can't make that adjustment or that energetic, alchemical phase that you can kind of move in and out of. So people, one way of putting it is like the phase 1 is a lot of people want to shift their energy, they don't know how. So what first thing, hey, clean out your house. You haven't worn something in a year, get rid of it. Give it to the resale shop, give it to the thrift store, give it away. You're not going to wear it again. And people will always say, oh, I feel so much lighter. Ooh,
That's very true.
I just felt like this stuff move, you know, like,
Speaking of that, do you notice also that whenever you do something good, say for someone in need or even a friend that is in a bad spot, or even you give say $1 to a homeless, it makes you feel
yeah,
incredible.
yeah, it shifts the energy. It
Yeah,
shifts. That's the alchemy. It's
yeah,
shifting that energy.
yeah.
So that would be like the first, kind of like the first layer. And then people can go deeper. It's like, well, how can I shift these limiting beliefs? Or how can I shift the energy of the relationship that I'm in? So those are, I would call it like different phases.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then how did you get into, so you said, you alluded how you got your spiritual awakening. So then you got into, say, you got trained as a hypnotherapist, you got trained as a Akashic record reader. How did you get into that? All of those fascinating things.
Well, well, it's again, if the door opens,
Oh, yes.
I was back, back in I was back in Chicago, and we had a very good spiritual women's group, that we had, and this is before the internet, so everything was you call people up on the phone, you meet for coffee, whatever. It was like this networking, and
I kind of
someone
miss
was
that
saying,
time.
hey,
I kind of miss those
yeah,
times.
I mean, it
It
was
was more
like
real,
that.
more human.
Yeah. You call people up, hey, someone's talking at, the bookstore. You're gonna come or whatever. Hey, they need speakers, or they need someone speaking at, wherever, and they're giving away free tickets. I mean, it's like, everybody just, I don't know, we all got together. And that was one of the things. Somebody said, hey, this person's talking about Akashic records. It's like, well, what's that? But you know what? I knew it was safe. I knew my peers were going to be there, and yep. So we all went, and there was only 12 of us in the class. We're like, okay, it's fine. About a year and a half later, I met another Akashic record teacher, and kind of the same thing happened. I picked up our little rag magazine that we would, our little spiritual magazine we would, get every month. Hey, I'm not doing anything this weekend. She's got openings. I call, you call them up on the phone.
Yeah.
Say, I know I missed the deadline, but do you still have an open? Yeah, come on over. And I got, and I was one of her teachers. I was in her teacher training program. And I mean, it was just kind of like boom, 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 boom. It just kept on going.
Yeah.
And there was such an alignment with the records and with me, because I open and close with a prayer, a sacred prayer. And it's just a fascinating experience for me as a reader to hold the light steady for my client. Yeah.
That is beautiful. So what came first? The Akashic record reading for you to get into, or the hypnotherapist?
Oh, I did the Akashic work first. And then that opened up to the past lives with Dr. Brian Weiss.
Did you do that because some of your clients started requesting that, or just because you realize, hey, that's the next thing I need to get into?
Well, because I actually past lives are held in the records.
Absolutely, yes.
So, but I wanted to go deeper. I wanted to go deeper into the work with Dr. Weiss. So it was kind of like a combination. I was able to kind of get into past lives. I don't want to say faster, but I had a very good relationship with the past lives and in the records, and then bringing in Dr. Weiss's information and how he did it. So it was like, and again, getting back to my laser focus, I'm like, boom, here we go. And so that channel in the Akashic field opens.
One of the first books of Dr. Weiss that I read was not about past lives, but future lives. So is that something that is popular among your clients that say, hey, I want to do a future life reading on me?
Maybe 2 years ago, I might have said yes. But now I say, first of all, the energy is really in the now, because this is where your point of power is.
Yeah.
It's just in the, there's nothing in the past, and then there's nothing in the future, because we are truly a hologram.
Yep.
a hologram of energy, and this is just a form, this little meat bag here. But so our energy, so there is no time.
Yes, everything happened at the same time.
In the quantum field, so everything is kind of happening at the same time. So I look at past lives now, it's like, what are the strengths in that lifetime that we can bring in and pull into this lifetime? If that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, isn't it a bit wild to think that you at a micro level, you being a little girl, a teen, young adult, an adult, an elderly,
Yeah.
everything's happening at the same time. How is that even possible? That completely defies a little understanding, you know?
Yeah. But what I do usually once or twice a year, I will do a workshop on, I used to call them vision boards. I'm a pretty good manifester. I used to call them vision
Wow.
boards because everybody was calling them vision boards at the time. But now I call them envisioning your future self. So that's how I do it. And I'm looking at my board, like right now, and I already had things manifest, so my future already came in a month. So if you let go of time, the pieces all fall together.
Wow. Beautiful. So once you've dived into the Akashic record, can you use that not only for your clients, but also for you, not only to grow spiritually, but also to help you achieve your goals in this life, like in a more physical way, so you can have a better understanding, what moves to make, what people to get with, and what type of things to stay away from? Can you use that in more concrete ways?
Oh yeah, people ask all the time about relationships. They ask about career choices. They ask about moves, physical moves. Should I move to Boston? I got a strong pull for Southern California.
Yeah.
So we can look into that. A lot of like solopreneurs ask about business questions, and it's nice because then and I thought, oh well, of course they always come to the right reader or the right person, because I do have my spiritual aspect, but I also have my MBA. So, and I worked in corporate America for about, I don't know, 10 years. So, so business people, come and ask. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. People who are just, feel stuck. It's like, I've been working, and all of a sudden I'm hitting the ceiling, I'm hitting this plateau. Like, like what's happening?
Do you get often asked, do you get often asked by people to tell you the winning numbers of the lottery?
No, actually, no one has ever asked that.
Really? I'm surprised.
Yeah.
But would Akashic even provide those? No, sorry, that's not
No,
the
because
table.
the Akashic records, and and a lot of times I do have to tell people the records are here for your soul's growth. They yes and no questions are not good for, will I marry my boyfriend? Will I get this raise at work? Quite honestly,
Yeah.
If you marry him, you're going to go down this path. And if you don't marry him, you're going to go down this path. But, so.
Do you think we're living in a simulation of some higher mega intelligence, smart, 100 billion times smarter than us, that just built this as for their entertainment, just like what some of these people like Elon Musk is saying we're just living in someone's, you know, that video game, The Sims. We just
Oh, SimCity.
yeah, you use a character, and or even SimCity, but also there's another game where you can actually select a character and among a bunch of other options, and you just, I mean, you just manage your life as if it was you, you know, and you earn
Yeah.
you earn credits, and the credits is actually like money, and you can just buy things just like what you would do in real life. You know, you buy things, you get things, you fall in love, you do what, you get betrayed, just like everything you do in life. Do you think we are in a simulation of some higher entity with just their entertainment?
Well, we're here. When you say that, that is that's very much the third. They call it the 3D.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the third dimension,
Yeah.
and that's what it is. And so we as light workers, and I hate to use the word ascension because it always just that word kind of formulates a hierarchy. I'm ascended and you're not ascended. I'm on feet. But so I like to use the word expansion because we are expanding. We're going up. We're going sideways. We're going diagonal. So we're expanding, and we are raising the frequency of Earth.
Well,
And
yes.
they're calling the new Earth. Raising that frequency.
And they're also mentioning, a lot of people are talking about this, the solar flare is gonna come, is gonna take out all the people that are vibrating in the negative, and all the people that are vibrating the positive, they will ascend them to the 5D, the new Earth. What are your thoughts on that? About this
I
solar
don't
flare?
know. Yeah, I'm like, I don't know about that. So
You think that's science fiction or somebody's
yeah.
creativity, imagination?
Yeah, it's a lot of that's a lot. Yeah, that's a lot of creative energy put into that one.
Yeah. All right. So now let's talk about your business. Tell us, what is your business? What are you doing? What are you up to now?
Well, my business has evolved over the past couple of years because I look at it, like two different categories. I have my service, and then I also have my products. So my service is my record readings, my intuitive readings, Akashic record readings. I'm forming a healing circle. So that's going to be online. Teaching classes for people on how to access the Akashic records, and then just maybe like some, I don't know, kind of fun workshops, like the envisioning workshop, envisioning your future self. And then I also have my product side. I created a oracle deck.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And actually, these are my pictures behind me.
Amazing.
So it's an attunement deck, actually. It's called the Sacred Attunement deck, Sacred Attunement Oracle deck. And I look at it as a gateway to your inner wisdom.
Yeah.
So these are all right. I'll shuffle, and we'll just pull a card.
Okay. Nice.
And see what you say. So these are my cards.
Nice.
And then just tell me to stop. And we'll take this. Stop.
Yep.
The cards are never wrong. Community.
Oh.
And this is exactly what you and I are doing, building community.
Yes, absolutely. Wow.
We get to know ourselves through the connection with others. Sacred stories are told, remembered, and knowledge is handed down that speaks to your soul.
Beautiful. Are you also doing tarot reading too?
I'll pull my cards out when I do my Akashic readings or intuitive readings. Yeah. So, yeah. So I do that. I mean, and these are all of my pictures are hand painted, and all of my words are handwriting. So all of my energy is so this, yeah, so that's I mean, that's my handwriting. So that'll say like vibration.
Beautiful. Are
Yeah.
these available for sale?
Yes, they're on my website. So
Are they,
people can just go to littleaspenstudios.com. And so I have the hard copy, but the nice thing about it is there's a new format called decable.com, and it has over it has over like 300 decks. It's kind of like
a
kind of
cloud?
like Audible.
Okay.
Yeah.
A cloud with for
Yeah.
decks.
We
Okay.
can put that in. And my deck was added to his, to that too. So
Beautiful.
internationally, so people can get them digital.
Wow. And then they can print
Yeah.
them and themselves, I guess.
They can print them, or Deckable is a nice format because then you can share with other people, and then there's little things that you can do and say, hey, this is what I got today. What'd you pull? And you can share it with friends, and yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful.
So anyway, yeah, so I do my cards for my products. I do fused glass.
What's
I do
that?
stained glass, and so I do fused glass and stained glass. So fused glass is glass that's kind of melted on each other. So I make pendants, and
Oh,
I do sacred geometry. So with my pendants, and everything is placed strategically on the
wow.
pendant. So yeah, so I make that. I'm trying to think what else I do. I already said about like the aromatherapy. Sometimes I'll do, after a reading or a session, a personal blend for people. And I can mail that out if, in the States. I created a notebook, the intention
Wow.
notebook,
Wow.
that's on Amazon. So yeah, so I did that. So yeah, so I love to create and work with my hands, and that's how I pull things together. I can pull things into the reading. I can see what people do. I get that laser focus and think, oh, this is what they need. This I can create a spray for them, or something, or whatever. I'm like, okay, this is where we're going with this.
Are your cards and your decks available on Amazon?
No, I did not put them on Amazon.
Okay.
That's another animal.
Oh yes. Oh yes. Oh yeah.
Not the same anymore as it used to be.
Yes,
So
indeed, indeed.
yeah.
Who would you say is your ideal client?
I think my ideal client are those people that are doing the work and then they get stuck.
Mm.
They want to make a shift. They want to do the work. And they're stepping into their expansion.
Mm.
So I have a great number of clients that are doing that. And then I have a great number of clients that want to do the deep dive. They want to go deeper. They want to go deeper. And that's when we do maybe a 5-session, I'll say package, but because that involves a little bit more than just a one-off reading.
Yeah.
That could get done. So that involves different forms of intuition, and I teach them that, and and then the business people too,
Do you
how they can use their intuition in their business.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wonderful. How are you getting your clients?
Well, a lot is through my the website, and a lot of it is just word of mouth, because they'll say, oh my God, I got to tell so and so. It's like, I need to tell somebody. Yeah. So I think personal referrals, because it's, it talks to your soul, and a lot of people, and that's a very personal thing. It's
Sure.
not something like you can just give like a gift certificate to. It's like, oh, here, have this it's like that, it has to have that personal connection, I think.
For sure. It's all about personal connection. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow. Share with us an example of the most remarkable transformation you've seen from one of your clients so far.
Oh, okay. Let's see. All right. This is a great success story. This person, he was from I'll say a friend from Chicago called, and he moved, and wasn't he knew, and he's a psychic medium as well. So okay, into the woo-woo, very spiritual. I mean, all of that. So we go into his records, and he wanted to know. He knew where he was currently was not where he was supposed to be. No idea where to go. The records were very clear to that the Pacific Northwest of the United States would be very supportive of his work. So they actually even suggested some areas. What he did was take action steps, which is very important. You just can't sit and wait for this miraculous download to, and all of a sudden everything appears. He took action steps. He went out there for about a week and a half, drove out there, explored the area. He felt very comfortable. He came back. And the records, it was funny because the records will only tell you exactly what you need to know at the time. But I knew there was something more, but I didn't ask to see what was beyond, because he had to take these action steps. So he took the action steps, came back, and he said, okay. And he ended up moving, packed up, got his dog, his 2 dogs. He moved out there, didn't know anybody. Found the man of his dreams, got married, and he is having a very successful career, loves it out there.
Wow.
And I say he has to take action steps, because I call it like the records will give you homework to do. So, and he did, he followed through, and it was such a nice way of co-creating for in this story, in this situation.
What kind of homework does the Akashic record give you? I mean, to people in general.
It's usually very simple things.
Like doing work itself, meditating, things like this.
Oh, and even simpler than that. A lot of people don't want to meditate. I mean, they say they want to meditate, but they don't want to meditate.
Yeah.
And it could be just the records might come through and they might say, oh, I want to meet people, blah, blah, blah. They might just say, just volunteer for an event.
Yes.
At a 5K run, we see you sitting at the registration table and just taking, for an hour, because you don't have to be there, for the entire time. You can be there for an hour. I'm very visual, and I tell people exactly what I'm being shown. It might mean nothing to me, but it might mean something to them. So I'll see these people, and they're like, very, very clearly, she was like sitting at a registration table, and it's up to her. It was, either do it or don't do it. That's not a hard thing. And would that mean that she would have met the man of her dreams or whatever? No, it might mean that she might have met a friend to go get coffee, and then that led into something else. you know, we don't know. But the records are usually very, very simple.
Wow.
But
And the,
yeah,
and the beautiful thing you said is that the records only give you what you need to know at that time.
right.
How
Right.
important is that? So you don't get confused.
Well, because if the records, like if I told him that, okay, the records, are very clear. I see you in the Pacific Northwest, blah, blah, blah. I see you. Yeah, I see you. And he was on stage doing, a program. I see you. You're going to meet the man of your dreams. People might get, they get overwhelmed. They're like, and they freeze. I can't do that. Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's too scary.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know what? Let's break this down. The records will say this. So,
In the records help someone was saying in a bad, especially mentally, let's say depressed, they're not able to perform, they're not able to get to express their talents. Can the Akashic record also help them in overcoming that and maybe show them, hey, this is probably not the path you should be following. Maybe this is where you need to go and it's what you need to do. Can that help in that way?
yes, the records will never tell you what to do.
Mm.
They will show you various scenarios or options. I like to say, like, people will say, well, should I move to Santa Fe or should I move to Boston? Two different areas of the United States.
Sure, yeah.
I was like, okay, well, let's go in and we'll ask, what would a typical day, if you moved to Santa Fe, what would a typical day look like?
Okay.
Oh. All right, if you moved to Boston, what would a typical weekend look like? What would you be doing? Or so it's up to the person. And I always tell people, take what resonates and leave the rest.
Totally.
You know yourself. You can feel the truth. You can feel your inner wisdom.
Yeah, totally. That's fascinating. I can talk to you and listen to you on that for hours. Let's move forward now. You've recently just reached an incredible milestone, that is you became a #1 international best-selling author. Tell us about that. Tell us about the book. Tell us about what you wrote
Oh,
about and all the good stuff.
it's a co-authored book, Divine Love, with our publisher and friend Mary Gooden.
Yep.
And we have 21 authors, each telling their story of transformation.
Wow.
And yeah, I loved telling my story of going from this hard science person in my journey and how I got to be this spiritual seer, almost this oracle, and doing the work that I do. Because I think people are always transforming, but they don't either realize what's happening or they don't have direction on what to do or how to do it. And I think my story kind of explains that.
Wow.
I think it's very relatable. It's like, hey, I was in this job that I really I was very good at, but I just knew there was this inner prompting that told me, hey, what about this? What about this? What about, come here, come here, come here. And it took me a long time to get, to kind of like release the blocks, release the expectations of others of going within myself.
How did you found Mary?
I found Mary through a friend, my good friend Taryn from South Africa.
Okay.
Yeah. And she wrote a chapter in Mary's books, Sacred Surrender.
I
Yeah.
was there
And so we
too.
just kind of, Taryn. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we just kind of, and Taryn is one of my Akashic record colleagues. So it was like boom, 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 boom,
Wow.
boom. And here we go. Yeah.
Amazing. So was that an easy decision for you to make, or to join to share your story in her book?
Yes, because as soon as I saw there was a couple of books she did before that, and the title wasn't me. I'm like, no, this is not my book. This is not my book. And then when this book came, I'm like, this is me. This is my story that I want to tell.
What
And
was
you just know, it's that way of knowing that you just know I'm supposed to be there.
What was the title of the book? Divine, was it?
Divine Love.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is another powerful, beautiful title for sure. Wow. And was it easy for you to actually sit down and write your chapter? Or was that more?
Yeah, it's funny because I have, my science side, I'm a very technical person,
Mhm.
but when it came to Divine Love, my chapter, it was it's a personal story, which is a totally different way of writing. And, my monkey mind started, it's like, oh, I need an outline. And, my scientist, you need an outline and you need this, and you have to cover this, and you have to have 3,000 words, which is 5 pages, boom, 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 boom. And then once I sat down, it was like, where's this coming from? I'm just going, just going and going and going. I'm like, oh, I have to add this. But, I just kept on going. I'm like, oh, I want, and before I know it, I'm like, oh, I have to edit this because it's too much. So I had to whittle things down, and I thought, yeah, just sit down and even when I journal, it's funny because even when I journal, and I don't journal a lot, but when I do journal, I'm kind of like a paragraph bullet point person. Boom, 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 boom. So it's like, I guess it's just me that's what I do. I combine that's a great way of combining my science bullet points with my spirit side.
And what is your vision for the book, for the chapter? How do you want to leverage that for your business?
Oh, that's a good question. I think promoting the book shows the side of me that is very relatable to so many people out there. And it just reaffirms what I'm doing. It reaffirms my work.
Yeah.
It reaffirms me helping people. And that's really what I do when I work, either my products or my services.
Sure. One way that I've seen myself and my students leverage a book is they just use the book as a business card. Go to a bunch of them, and whenever you go to a meeting or conference event, just bring a bunch of them with you. Hey, they say, hey, Laura, it was awesome talking to you. Can I have your business cards? I don't have a business card, but sorry, but it's my book.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, business cards, 99% of the time, they end up in the bin.
True. Very true.
But even if they don't, you will, within a 24 to 48 hours, you will forget who it was from. But a book, that stands out.
Yeah.
So that's that way. And even more powerful if the book was just about you. So you write a book about, say, the benefits of the Akashic reading and all that, of, past living, whatever it is you want to promote. Write a book on that. It's not hard, and then you can easily write, say 150 page book. Say the first 75 pages are just you outlining the benefits of what you're doing, how that's gonna benefit and elevate or transform the lives of your customers and clients. And then the second part, just testimonials. That's gonna be
Oh,
your greatest business card. Hey, here it
yeah.
is. Here it is. If you were
Yeah. Good idea.
invited to speak at an event, let's say there are 200 people, in attendance, what I would recommend is bring with you 200 copies and put one on each seat.
Oh, yep. That's a good idea too. Yeah.
You get, even if 5% become client, that's going to pay more than for itself. It's going to give visibility, extra visibility, and credibility, expertise. People will see as an expert because, again, we associate books with experts.
Right. Exactly.
So
Exactly.
get on that.
Yeah. Yep. That's a good
Awesome.
idea. Thank you.
You're welcome. Now let's move forward. We can talk for hours because you're so fascinating. You're doing things absolutely, it's wow stuff for me. But let's wrap things up. And to finish, I'd like to ask a series of rapid fire questions on advices. Ready?
Oh, okay.
What would you say has been so far the best piece of advice you received?
Best piece of advice I ever received was don't overthink.
Oh, love that. Yes. Love that.
And I am an overthinker.
I think we all are.
Yeah.
Now, what would you
Get
say?
into the feeling more. Yeah, get into the feeling more and
That's
then
it.
out of the head. Yeah.
Secret is the feeling. Absolutely. Now, what would you say has been so far the worst piece of advice you've received other than get a job?
I would say it wasn't don't move.
Don't move. Wow.
Yeah. That's when I was living in Chicago.
Ah, okay. Yeah. Okay.
Moving to Colorado.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, do you have your own podcast?
No, I don't.
All right. Imagine that you add up your podcast and today you're interviewing the most special person in the world, and that is yourself. What is the first question that comes to your mind that you want to ask yourself? Don't think too much. First question that pops in.
The first question I would ask is, how did you get to where you are now?
Beautiful question. And what would be the answer?
I would say just following my own advice, listening to myself.
This is so key because society, teaches us to seek guidance elsewhere, whether it's teachers, parents, God forbid, government. But whereas the real guidance is within, just get in touch with your soul, listen to your gut feeling, to your hunches. Sometimes you're doing something completely unrelated. Let's say you're cooking, taking a shower, you're having dinner with friends, and you have an idea that just flashes in your mind out of nowhere. Listen to that. Listen to that.
Yes. And don't delay.
No.
Don't say, oh, I'll do that tomorrow. No, do it now, in the now. That's why it was given to you.
Or at the very least, have a notepad and write it down so you don't forget. Don't say, oh, I'll remember it. No, you won't.
I know you won't. I know.
Nah. Awesome. Now, the last question I want to ask, and that's my favorite question to ask all my guests, and that is, what is the smallest thing you've done that is at the greatest and deepest, most profound positive effect in both your life and business? And by small, I don't mean something small. I mean the one thing. For example, for me, it's been starting my podcast. What about you, Laura?
would say that it would be living in the now.
Oh, yes.
Living in the now and get out of my own way.
Huge. Yes, absolutely. I agree, because
Yeah.
sometimes we are our own worst enemy, because we create scenarios that never happen just because we doubt ourselves.
Yeah, exactly.
Beautiful. If someone wants to connect with you, Laura, what's the best way to do so?
I would say just visit my website, littleaspenstudios.com. And I have all my information. I have some free resources on there if people want. Classes will be posted on there. My healing circles posted on there, or they can just email me, littleaspenstudios@gmail.com. If they just want to talk, ask some more questions or whatever.
Okay, what is the website? littlestudios.com?
Little Aspen Studios.
Ah, Aston, okay.
Aspen.
A-S-T-O-N?
ASP.
Okay.
ASPEN.
Ah, P, sorry. Okay. P,
Sorry.
A-S-P-E-N?
Yes.
All right.
Studios.com.
All
Yeah.
right. I'll check it out. I'll put all of those links in the show notes.
Okay.
People to reach out
Yeah,
to you.
thank you.
So listen, Laura, absolute blast talking to you. We can do so many more episodes. Because
Yeah.
so many questions I wanted to ask. I didn't ask them because we would have been here till next week. But I know it's getting late for you. It's at 10:45 p.m. for you. Here it's 10. It's almost the same thing, but in the morning. So we'll probably do a part 2 in the next few weeks. So I salute you.
Yeah.
You're a true leader with a heart. Keep shining your light. Keep blessing the world with your presence, with your impact, readings, with your smile, with everything you're doing. Stay safe. Stay awesome. God bless you, my friend. We're definitely going to be talking.
Oh,
Take care.
thank you so much.
Very welcome.
Namaste.
Namaste.